What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today I wanted to discuss some of the big leaks that came out just a couple days ago, and this is actually regarding almost all of the future seasons for Modern Warfare 2. Now this leak is actually coming from an apparent data breach where somebody was able to gain access to an employee's computer and they were able to find these internal documents that they ended up leaking. Now obviously I'm not going to be showing the actual leaks themselves, I'm just going to be talking about the content within the leaks as it pertains to the game. But of course, before we get into that content, I just want to point out that this leak is from early December, and a lot of things can and likely have changed since then. Actually, if we look at the dates and everything they have within this leak, things have already changed since this leak. So this isn't a guarantee of what we'll be seeing, it's more so a snapshot at that given time of what their plans were for the seasons. So this is absolutely not set in stone, but I still wanted to talk about it because it can potentially give us a good indication of what to expect for the rest of the year with Modern Warfare 2. So diving right in, this spreadsheet that was leaked laid out the general content plans for Season 3, Season 4, and Season 6. For whatever reason, Season 5 doesn't appear to be included, at least when I look back at the source, that's all I can see. However, it's actually looking likely that we're not actually getting 6 seasons anymore with this game, and instead, since they're pivoting to a new Call of Duty release this year, based on the current timeline with where we're at and how far we're behind schedule based on what we're seeing in this leak, it appears we're only going to be seeing 5 seasons instead, so maybe that's why Season 5 is missing from this anyway. But with these 3 seasons that have leaked, in each season we can expect 2 new operators and 1 licensed operator. And a licensed operator typically means that that character is coming from a different universe, it's coming from elsewhere, and being licensed for use in Modern Warfare 2. Next, according to this document, each season will include 3 new weapons. Season 3 states 3 core maps, although that may be 2 now since apparently they moved one of those maps up to Season 2 for the Season 2 Reloaded update. Whereas for Seasons 4 and Season 6, we're only getting 2 core maps, and keep in mind core maps means 6v6 maps. Then as far as battle maps go, it looks like we're getting 1 in Season 3, 2 in Season 4, and 1 in Season 6. Battle maps are those larger scale maps that we play in Invasion and Ground War. And then also, if you guys have missed it, Gunfight has been confirmed to be coming in Season 3, and it looks like based on this, we'll be getting 4 Gunfight maps in Season 3, another 4 maps in Season 4, and that's all they mention, although again, we can't see what Season 5 plans were. Hopefully we'd be getting more than that when it comes to Gunfight maps. Also, each one of these new seasons, aside from Season 6, will be coming with a new Spec Ops map and a new raid mission as well. Then, of course, for all the seasons, we're getting a new Battle Pass, Tier 1 event, and 70 bundles, apparently, according to this, per season. And that's pretty much everything that was laid out content-wise for this. Like I said, it doesn't really paint the whole picture. We are missing a Season 5 here, but then again, we may not be seeing a Season 6, so maybe Season 6 in this is actually just going to be our Season 5. But if there was Season 5 content planned already, perhaps that's going to get mixed in, or perhaps they're just going to hold it off for the next Call of Duty game. But based on this, I did want to have a look at how much content we're expected to be getting for the regular multiplayer in this game compared to older Call of Duty games. And the main focus here is with the core or 6v6 maps. Now at launch, let's have a look at a chart of how many 6v6 maps have been available for every one of the Call of Duty games since COD 4. And as you can see here, Modern Warfare 2 launched with only 10 of those core 6v6 maps, which is definitely on the lower side, although not quite as bad as Modern Warfare 2019, Cold War, or World War II. And if we carry this through to the end of the life cycle of the game, so 1 year later with the game, based on these leaks, it's estimated we'll be seeing between 22 and 24 core 6v6 maps for Modern Warfare 2. And when we compare that to the rest of the franchise, again, it's on the lower side. We haven't seen this few maps since World at War if we're looking at 22 maps, or COD World War II if we're looking at 24 maps. In either case, at least for 6v6, content-wise, while Modern Warfare 2 isn't like way out of the ordinary, it definitely appears that it is going to be on the lower side throughout the rest of the life cycle of this game. And of course, that's really unfortunate. Of course, we do have to consider the fact that there are far more modes to play within multiplayer. So we've also got Ground War with its own set of maps, and Gunfight is coming as well, and that will have its own set of maps. So it's not exactly a fair one-to-one comparison. But I did want to point out, if you are just interested in 6v6, it looks like from here on out, it's basically just 2 6v6 maps per season based on these leaks. And that is not ideal, especially if we're only getting 5 seasons total this year, which, like I said, it's looking like that's going to be the case because according to this schedule that leaked, Season 3 should be launching on the 15th of March, which would mean Season 2 would only be lasting 1 month, which is, of course, not going to be the case, especially since we have a Season 2 Reloaded update coming. So it seems like they're really going to be stretching these seasons out much longer and then cutting one of those seasons, meaning, at least for 6v6, there isn't a ton of new content to be expected from here on out. Now, another big thing I wanted to point out here from these leaks is actually regarding the next Call of Duty game, COD 2023, which appears to be, at least internally, codenamed as Jupiter. Now with this, there aren't a ton of details to be gained. There are 2 sections called like Jupiter GL4 and GL5. I'm not too sure what that signifies. It could just be certain development cycles or milestones that they're trying to hit within those time periods. However, the more interesting part here is the Jupiter Alpha, which appears to be located right around the beginning of June. And since it is so early on, we've never had an alpha that early, at least as far as I can remember. I think it's more likely this is going to be like an internal or closed alpha that isn't available to the general public. So I'm not going to read into that too heavily and expect to be playing an alpha of the next Call of Duty game in June. But it is worth pointing out that there is a Jupiter Alpha laid out for around that time. And another thing that's interesting to point out here is the previous leaks for COD 2023 stated that the release date for this was going to be November 8th. And it just so happens that in this schedule that was leaked, Season 6 is ending on November 8th, which isn't following the previous seasons exactly, and therefore it's likely ending for an outside reason, such as a new game being launched. So that's not like a ton of information that we can gain regarding this next Call of Duty game, but it does appear to at least corroborate those previous leaks that COD 2023 will be launching on November 8th. And with that, that's most of what I wanted to talk about, but there's one last thing where I just wanted to share my thoughts and opinions on this, at least from a player's perspective. A big thing I noticed is each one of these seasons mentions 70 bundles would be added. So these would be paid bundles that you buy in the store. And it really makes it seem like a lot of the resources are being allocated toward just creating those bundles so they can sell them in the store. And from a business perspective, of course, I can get that, especially for Warzone and DMZ free-to-play players, because that's how they get their money out of those players, by selling them bundles. So I get it from that perspective, but it's also just frustrating to see that we're only getting like 2 or maybe 3 6v6 maps in a season, yet they can put 70 bundles together. And yes, of course, I understand the people creating those bundles aren't necessarily the same people that are working on creating maps and stuff, but it's about the resource allocation, where it seems like we're just barely getting the bare minimum and just barely scraping by when it comes to the actual playable content that makes the game more fun and enjoyable to play. And yet they're planning for 70 paid bundles that have no impact whatsoever on the gameplay itself every single season. That just feels a little bit crazy to me, and I wanted to include a little comment here. But with that, that is going to wrap it up for today's video on these leaks for the future seasons of Modern Warfare 2. Overall, honestly, I wasn't massively surprised by anything on this. This looks like about what I would have expected, although I would have hoped for more than just 2 core maps per season. However, I do want to hear from you guys in those comments down below. Just what are you thinking about these leaks in general? Are you surprised by anything in these leaks? Are you happy about them? Unhappy about them? Just let me know down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.